I will have to preface this by saying that, Emblem is a very large community, almost 23,000 on-chain NFT holders, 10,000 CoVol holders, 2 different migrations from token migration. So it's been a very challenging puzzle to piece this all together, to unify everything. Took hundreds, if not thousands of hours to really piece this all together with new and novel concepts. So, with that being said, probably very challenging to please everybody, but we have taken everyone into consideration in terms of, all unifying all of the communities and progressing Emblem forward from a technological layer. So without further ado, Emblem Vault Tokenomics and expansion campaign. Here is the agenda. So there's about 9 or 10 slides here that goes over the expansion campaign, our goals and objectives, the Emblem Vault keys, the token, the distribution, which is probably the chart that everyone wants to see, and then 3 different programs that are going to be included of the expansion campaign. That's inclusive of airdrops, founder vaults, and the vaulting program. And then the 2 final slides will be about community growth and Emblem Vault ourselves. So really, what is the expansion campaign? We've been really discussing this for over this last 6 months or so. The expansion campaign is simply just a multi-year roadmap. Some communities and projects consider this like something like a season 2, right? Or your, the next, excuse me. It's like a roadmap or the next kind of chapter. Within this, we call it a campaign because there's multiple programs or offerings, you could say, that are going to be inclusive of this like 18-year roadmap. We have many objectives. There's many layers to it, right? Inclusive of like a business layer, there's a political layer, there's a social layer, right? There's an incentive layer. So there's a lot of things that are inclusive of this. And these are all things that we've taken into consideration in terms of unifying the community and then also onboarding new users and expanding. So some of the key bullet points here, right? What are our goals and kind of objectives in terms of just like straightforward goals, not necessarily numbers. Releasing Emblem 2.0 is obviously the main focus here. Emblem 2.0, yesterday we had on David, who's the founder of Lip Protocol, which is going to be the new system that powers Emblem Vault. This is what allows us to create non-custodial vault and smart wallets or smart vaults and multi-chain tooling and Emblem AI. We're moving from Web3 auth to Lip Protocol. I highly suggest listening to the show yesterday to learn more about Lip Protocol. The second bullet point, because this is very important to us, is the unification of CoVol, Fuel, and existing Emblem token communities. The post that I have pinned to the top goes through the token lineage of Emblem Vault historically, which goes back to 10 years and like 4 different tokens, right? And an NFT migration as well. So the goal is to unify all of these token communities under one singular goal, which is Emblem Vault keys, and then align these incentives and rewards with Emblem Vault, the technology. One of the things that we noticed very quickly is that the CoVol goals and alignment was completely opposite of what the Emblem Vault goals and objectives were. And so this has caused a lot of bifurcation and dissent within both of these communities, because right, obviously with a fungible token, you want the number to go up. With Emblem Vault, we have to scale. With the Emblem 1.0 system, that was really challenging to make both of those happen because, right, we had to remove CoVol to scale Emblem Vault, right? So then if you remove it from the ecosystem, then obviously token price goes down and it causes a lot of frustration. But as we've said before, Emblem Vault is the key to all of this, right? You can have a successful Emblem Vault without a token layer. You cannot have a successful token layer without the underlying infrastructure. And so we've been very clear about that over the last 18 months, and we've been very transparent. I'm actually very proud about that since we've joined the team. We do these town halls once a month. We have 3 shows a week where we live in the Discord. I really don't know if there's that many teams that are more transparent than us. Like, I'm being completely honest there, for better or for worse. And I see Adam laughing.
No, just like people like, when are you going to give an update? It's like, bro, we do 3 shows a week. How much updates do you want, man? It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yes.
Everybody's in their own silo. They don't see. But anyway, yeah, we're here.
We're here. We ain't going anywhere. And we make ourselves very available. So under this, right, the expansion campaign in tokenomics, our goal is to deploy to pretty much every major blockchain. Right now, Emblem, the majority of the action or all of the action happens on Ethereum. But we have users who want to go to Solana. People want to go to Base, right? You want your node monkey on Blast so you can farm it. You want your Rare Pepe on Solana because it's faster or XYZ reasons. So that is one of our major objectives there. Increasing vault support. So, adding support for things like Doginals or, say NFTs or etc. Like that is one of the main goals as well. Releasing new cross-chain applications and products. Televault is one main example of that, which is actually a independent team who's built on top of the Emblem Vault SDK. Another one is Emblem AI, which we've been discussing over the last few weeks, which we have some more innovations coming there. So over the next, 18 months, this is the expansion of, we want people building on top of Emblem. And then we also want to release cool and new innovative technologies. Main key point here, the complete redesign of Emblem Vault tokenomics, right? I talked about this previously. The incentives were completely misaligned, so we have to really unify everything together. And then accrue value to Emblem Vault keys, which is the new token, which comes with the new tokenomics and the utility and use cases and different types of things that will happen over the expansion campaign that, we would assume would imply value to keys. It's never, that's never a 100% thing. The market will react to how the market does. But, in the world of utility tokens, we're about to go into a new era with possibly a very friendly regulatory environment, the United States, which then, dissipates to all of the other jurisdictions. And so, we'll get more information there, which was one of the reasons that Koval struggled, was under a hostile environment. We had to remove burning. We had to, sunset the staking program that we wanted to introduce. But, maybe with those can come back plus more over the, next 18 months. New incentives and reward programs. That's pretty standard. Standardize Emblem Vision, and then basically grow all of our different products between Emblem Vision, which is our minting and management platform, Emblem Markets, which is, our hub for vault trading, expand Emblem AI to become a pillar for the crypto AI infrastructure, and then add support for dozens of tokens to Televault, and then whatever may come there. Adam, any comments on the expansion?
Bro, it's incredible. As I read through this, I'm like, holy cow, how have we done this with like 5 or 6 people? Like, it's really incredible. Obviously, Shannon's, one of the best devs in the world, and so we're very, very fortunate to have that superpower on our team. Obviously, but yeah, just couldn't. This just highlights how, if you're into the idea of a multi-blockchain future, how those blockchains communicate and interact with each other. If you're not bullish Emblem, like, I just don't know what you're doing. Yeah, it's just awesome.
I truly believe this, and maybe this is just me speaking insane. I truly think Emblem can be one of the most valuable companies in the industry. I do say this pretty often, and people are probably tired of it, but I view Emblem as like the shipping center of the crypto industry. When you look at like some comparables, right? What does Amazon shipping containers, your postal service, and UPS all do? They all take assets, they put it inside of a package, and they ship it from one place to another. What does Emblem do? It takes digital assets, puts it inside of an NFT, and ships it from one place to another. And so when you look at the global GDP of the international shipping industry, it's 10% of global GDP, which is $10 trillion. If you get even a fraction of that, although I think you could probably be comparable to crypto, right? You have a very Large market opportunity there. We're just a little bit early, as Shannon tends to be throughout his development career. So very, very bullish, and that's much of our intentions. So with our goals and objectives, we have basically 5 benchmarks that we want to achieve by 2026. So by the end of the expansion program, we want to increase our TVV, that's total value vaulted, from 100 million to 1 billion plus. So 10x from where we are today. Increase our total vaults minted from 100,000 to 1 million. So another 10x. Expand our unique owners from 22,000 to 100,000. So 5x in unique owners. Expand our protocol supported from 15 to 30. So double that. And then expand from 3 blockchain deployments to 15. So try to 5x that. We want to release new products. We have a bulk minting interface. This is where you can mint up to 25 vaults in a single transaction. Actually, we had a dev call yesterday, and it's close to being deployed. Hopefully by this month, that should be available. Smart vaults, which are smart contracts inside of vaults, non-custodial vaults, and the jumping feature, which is being able to move a vault from any chain in one single transaction. So the example here is, I have a CryptoPunk inside of a vault that's on Solana, and it's on Solana because XYZ reasons. But now I want to move it over to Bitcoin because I want to denominate it in BTC. You just basically click jump, and it's a gas transaction on the network that it currently exists, and then you just have your CryptoPunk over on Bitcoin, and then maybe Blast is offering some incentives, so you want to move it over to Blast, and so then you just jump it over to Blast. And so there's no wait time on this, and we believe that's one of the key innovations here, is being able to move an NFT from any blockchain to any blockchain in literally one gas transaction and no wait. And then the blockchains we want to deploy on, there's a whole list here of about 20 that we'd like to, including all Bitcoin main protocols, including Cat VM, whenever that's deployed, Counterparty, Ordinals, and Tap, things like Abstract and Ape Chain, to things like Leica, which is on Dogecoin, right, to Base, to Sui and Tron. We'll try to get to all of them. And we have some partnerships that are lined up in terms of grant programs that we've been accepted into, that will be released during the expansion campaign. So for an example, which you might see, is we've announced that we're in the Arbitrum and Merlin, but not limited to just those two. So maybe for that month, we have partnerships with Merlin Chain, and we'll have those different application builders on our show so that we can then take your vaults to that chain to do XYZ things based off of the strengths of whatever that chain has to offer. There's a lot of cool opportunities. There's a lot of also unknowns in this as well, which is, I think, one of the most exciting features.
I think one of the things, when you're looking at all those chains, and we already have a roadmap for which ones we're going to deploy on first, from a Emblem keys holder perspective, like, why is that important? It's important because we're basically penetrating into brand new communities who are going to start using Emblem, and they're going to hear about keys, and we're going to get into the details of why they might want to hold keys and so on and so forth. But basically, this is the marketing. Every time we're going to launch on a new chain, this is a huge portion of new marketing for new users, right? So this is it's super important.
Yeah, we've got over 300 people now who've tuned in. So a lot of live streamers who are interested in this cross-chain world. So Emblem Vault keys, here's some of the numbers. So we deployed it on April 21st, which was the first day that Runes launched. It's a 10 billion supply, and it's rune number 5078. So for the last 6 months, you've been able to actually go look at the Bitcoin blockchain and see the statistics for it. That goes to show you how long we've really been considering this. And a main question is, why do a fungible token on Bitcoin, right? Why leave Ethereum? Why go to a new token standard, which, is still in its infancy? Within the last 6 months, it's been created. Well, there's a lot of reasons. And so one of them is it's just a very compelling narrative that Emblem gets to return home to Bitcoin after 6 years. Koval originally started on Counterparty in 2016, left Counterparty in 2019 to move to Ethereum after, Counterparty assets were delisted off exchanges, hostility towards developers on Bitcoin at that time. We're at an all-time high. So we moved, and now we get to return home to the top, or one of the top fungible token standards on Bitcoin. Right now, it's second in market cap by 2 billion, but we believe that this is growing to become the largest fungible token community on Bitcoin. So many people believe, and we believe, this fungible token ecosystem on Bitcoin can 100x from here, from 2 billion to 200 billion, where you have the Ethereum fungible token communities at 700 billion. Even though Bitcoin is a $2 trillion asset, so there's a lot of native liquidity there. So Emblem gets to grow. We get to increase, I guess you could say, the value of Emblem, or of Emblem Vault keys, while the ecosystem grows. And so us basically putting our flag now says that we're here for the long term, and people become familiar, and you get to, hopefully celebrate some of those gains with the industry and as the token community. We also get to realign Bitcoin, or Emblem's Bitcoin community. Realistically, some people, don't really mention this, but Emblem is a Bitcoin company. 80% of our TVL and TVV is Bitcoin NFTs, from ordinals to stamps, right, to runes, to BRC20. And over 80% of our sales volume of that $150 million in volume, is from Bitcoin NFTs themselves. So most of our users are Bitcoiners, and we get to have a native Bitcoin token there. Excuse me. One of the other reasons, you have a maturing DeFi ecosystem on Bitcoin. I'll get a little bit into this later. And one of the final reasons here is Emblem is a multi-chain tool, right? It's one of the only cross-chain, or true cross-chain applications. And so with that, we need a native token on all of these different major ecosystems between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So you can offer, native integrations and native offerings. So with this, Emblem has Televault, so we could take a Bitcoin fungible token and we can bridge it to Ethereum or Solana via our Televault. But there is no way to deploy on Solana or Ethereum and bridge to Bitcoin. That technology does not exist. So therefore, it makes it even more of a simple reasoning to say, hey, let's start on Bitcoin, the largest asset. And if we need to move, and we probably will bridge some of these to Solana with an LP pool and Ethereum and et cetera, you have to do it with Bitcoin. There's just no way to do it the other way around. And with a majority of Bitcoin users, right, you don't want to isolate, the majority of your community for those reasons. Admin takes here.
Bitcoin. Bro, season 2, man. Look, we were there at the beginning of season 2. I don't think there's any question what's happening on Bitcoin. And I mean, look, there's no perfect, but we feel like this is going to be the winner, and it just makes sense, right? It just makes sense.
Chris, you're a numbers guy. What do you think about the long-term, growth of runes and Bitcoin fungible tokens?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we're really leaning on every chain's different strengths. And Bitcoin, it's all about permanence, immutability, and long-term value. And then it's an export chain where you take those base layer Bitcoin assets and you export them through Emblem Vaults to Solana, to Ethereum, to Sui, where they have cheaper, faster transactions, but you're not losing that base layer immutability. So starting from Bitcoin and branching off, that's what everyone wants in this industry. That's where you want your long-term art. That's where you want your long-term investments, because for certain it's going to be there 100 years from now. And so building at that base layer and expanding out, that's our goal. And that's where we're going.
Yes, sir. Couldn't be more excited. So this next slide, I believe, is the one that everyone wants to see. So we'll get some snapshots and some fireworks here. This is the distribution of keys. So I'll read it off for those that are just currently listening. So we broke it into 5 different categories. The top 3 are the 3 programs that will be within the expansion campaign. And then the bottom 2 are kind of standard. So we figured out this way. So there's I'll go through the numbers first and I'll give a little explanation. So we've allocated 38% to airdrops, 20% to a program called Founder Vaults, 15% to a program called the Vaulting Program, 14% to community growth, and 13% to Emblem Vault, the team. So the top three are three different programs of three different ways to which you can accrue or acquire keys. Airdrops are rewards. Founder vaults are ways that you could purchase directly. And then vaulting program is a way that you can earn keys over the expansion campaign. Community growth and Emblem Vault, I have some slides for that we'll get into, but these are also pretty standard kind of allocation areas for the distribution. Again, I'll have, we have a blog that's going to be posted after this that goes into details after this explanation of all of it. So airdrops. So Koval, Koval will be receiving 15% of the total keys airdrop. If over 50% of all Koval is time locked, then that will increase to 20%, making it the largest or tied for the largest allocation portion of any program within the expansion campaign. So how do you participate in this Koval migration? Basically, we have created a time lock vault, which is a brand new technology that's introduced by Emblem. We'll also be using time lock vaults in a different program. So what time lock vaults are, again, this is something that does not exist in crypto. We've looked up and down throughout the entire industry. This technology does not exist. It's basically an NFT that you can lock digital assets inside of for a specific amount of time. And then also using the Emblem Vault technology, you could put different types of deposit addresses inside. So why use time lock vaults is for a few reasons. One of them is you have Koval, which is an ERC20 token, right? An Ethereum token. And then you have keys, which is a Bitcoin token. You have no way to directly airdrop keys to an Ethereum wallet. That's just like an impossible thing to do. So you have to figure out a way to distribute these Bitcoin tokens to Ethereum holders. So with an Emblem Vault, you can put an Ethereum wallet and a Bitcoin wallet inside of an NFT, right? And then we can time lock it. So what we're doing here is users are going to time lock their Koval. The Koval will be locked inside of this NFT until Bitcoin block 920,000, which is approximately the end of October. And within there, there's going to be a Ethereum and Bitcoin deposit address. The keys will be airdropped into the Taproot wallet inside of the vault while the keys are locked. And then once the Bitcoin block is reached, users will be able to claim the keys inside of the vault, just a standard kind of minting process. This also aligns Koval users by making them familiar with making them familiar with using the Emblem product. One thing that we noticed is a lot of the Koval owners have actually never minted a vault before. So there was a complete separation in terms of the two different communities. So again, this is one of the ways to align incentives and make everyone familiar with the product and the token itself. Koval will be sunsetted afterwards. You can take the Koval and you can do whatever you want. If somebody wants to CTO it, that's up to them. And the Koval ability to lock your Koval will basically continue up until October 1st, 2025. So you'll have literally 10 months until then. In December, so this month, it'll be free. There'll be no vaulting fee to lock your Koval. And then after that, every month, the vaulting fee for time locking Koval will increase by $20. This is something that's called a FOMO tax. So if people want to wait and if the value of Koval increases, then users are going to have to pay more to migrate. So the goal is to get as much time locked, right? We want to get over that 50% goal. But if we don't, then those who participate in the migration get a larger allocation. Right. So if you get less than 50% participation, then, that 15% is distributed across less people. So it's a much higher allocation for those individuals. So really cool kind of process there. We do have fuel holders who were basically participants in this early token creation from 2017 and 18 that didn't go as well as we thought it, but we are still going to reward them a specific allocation for keys. That allocation percentage will be shared at a different date, and we are in contact with most fuel holders. There is a Telegram group for that. And we will basically reach out to them because it's been a long time. So we have to ensure that fuel holders have to turn in their fuel tokens to get that allocation. And then MBELs. If you're a holder of MBELs, you will also be airdropped some keys inside of your MBELs vault. If you're an MBELs holder, all you have to do is literally just hold the vault and you will have to do nothing else. That allocation will also be announced a different day. And then the remaining allocation here. So you think about it. Okay, if you get over 50% of CoVol time locked, so that's 20%, and then you allocate some percentages to each of these communities. You have, sorry, someone called me. If you allocate, or you have essentially like you essentially have some allocation that's still set aside that we haven't announced yet. And we are going to use that for retroactive rewards, activations, and community partnerships. This is something that we're going to reveal at a later date, in a very strategic fashion to reward, different people in the Bitcoin community or different people that were past participants in early Emblem products or different things moving forward. It's really tough to predict what's going to happen here, in the future, heading into basically the largest bull run in crypto history and what things will exist, 10 months from now. So you do have to be able to be nimble and be able to, reserve some of the supply for what's to come here in the future.
Yeah, I think we know people are smart and CoVol holders are smart, and they're going to, figure out what the best strategy for them individually is, and we expect people to whatever, either buy CoVol on the open market or do whatever to kind of, I wouldn't, MBEL's probably is going to take a bump here too. It's going to, people are going to ape into MBEL. Who knows, right? People are smart, but there's been a tremendous amount of effort trying to make this as fair and open as possible to reward those early CoVol holders.
Yeah. One thing we would like to see too is, how does the market react to this? Maybe the market reacts negatively, maybe it reacts positively. We're introducing new and novel concepts that haven't been done before. And so there's a lot of unknown that exists here. And Emblem is taking that risk by migrating to Bitcoin, for our fungible token. That's a risk there. Using this these time lock vaults are also a risk, and we need to see how the market responds. Chris, what is your take on airdrops? And then also, I'll be back in like 2 minutes. I gotta use the bathroom.
Yeah, no problem. It's super exciting. I think from a CoVol holder's perspective, you almost want nobody else to migrate. You want to be the ones to migrate. You want to get that flat 15%, right?
Totally. I'm like the CoVol holders are going to just like, let's keep it on the down low. Like I can see the chat already. They're like, all right, everybody, don't say a word to anybody, right? Because it's ideal. If I'm the only CoVol holder who time locks my CoVol, I get 100% of that 15%. Right. So obviously,
exactly.
And one of the things.
Who knows how much of CoVol supply is lost or in translation or whatever. So this is a good kind of practice for us to see who's active in the community and who's still around and who wants to participate with the future of Emblem, right? We're not incentivizing people to not participate in Emblem. We're we're incentivizing people to come along our journey with us for the future of Emblem Vault, which we're confident in what we're building. So this is a super exciting time to really loop in the fuel holders. That's going to be a great addition, and the MBELs team as well, MBELs holders as well. So we're really covering all the bases here, and this is really just the beginning. Once again, it's not about how big we have been or anything like that. It's about how big we're going to be. And so if crypto is in its nascent stage, Emblem's in its nascent stage. Where are we going to be in a year, 5 years from now? And we're going to be 10, 20, 100x the size that we are today. And we really want everyone within, from the Covol community and the future Emblem Vault Keys community to really join us on that journey, because I think it's going to be incredible.
Shannon, did you have something to say?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm really excited about is it, I hear the words, describing risk with the adoption of a new protocol. And the thing that really excites me is that we get to show the entire industry that the way we're doing things, we're mitigating that risk. We're building towards a future where it doesn't matter what your token is. It doesn't matter if you've got one or spread over 15 different blockchains. And we get to do that, and we get to show everybody. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it couldn't be more excited. I'm very excited for this next one, the Founder Vault segment. This is going to be essentially the kind of crown jewel of this entire expansion campaign. And we're taking a whole new spin on this idea of, private sale or pre-sale or public sale, right? This is the way that you can kind of just buy your way into it. And there's a few reasons why we're going about it this way and why we're introducing a way that we think can actually revolutionize the way that token sales are conducted moving forward. So I'll go through a little bit of the details and I'll try to give a little bit of an explanation. So founder vaults are time lock vaults. Again, we're using time lock vaults again. We took 20% of the total key supply, so 2 billion keys. We spread them evenly across 1,000 founder vaults. So each founder vault has 2 million keys. These keys are going to be locked inside of a founder vault until Bitcoin block 915,000. So it'll unlock about 10 months from today on September 20th. Why do this? We've talked about this ad nauseum for about a year or so. And this is just kind of, I'm being very transparent with the community. We've spent, I kid you not, I've reached out to probably 500 different people over the last year. This is everything from traditional VCs to blockchain VCs to ecosystem VCs to hedge funds to investment DAOs to retail traders to NFT project leads to alpha groups to retail traders, right? To collectors, to users. Inquiring about, investments or do you raise equity? Do you do a SAFT, right? Do you do a token sale? Like there's so many different ways to go about this. And Emblem ran into a few different issues. And this is also just more of a realization of where the industry is and where Emblem is as a product. Emblem, a lot of the traditional VCs we're not interested in Emblem because Emblem was already a functional and working product. And this was a realization on my end because this whole side of, the venture capital world and stuff was very new to me. Venture capitalists, right? When you see these people raising 5, 10, $200 million, these are all idea stages. There's no product. So they basically get to sell this a vision of where this product could be. With Emblem Vault, it had been around for, 4 years or 3 years at that point in time. So you can basically put a number on it. And it's not something that traditional VCs or, large funds were interested in. And then even more so, Emblem Vault is a unique technology. It's one of one. There's literally nothing else like this. Emblem Vault created the vaulting kind of interoperability protocol. There's still no other ones in this. And so somebody said, who brought the first round? I have that on the next slide. So we'll showcase that. So with that being said, a lot of the VCs and different funds, and this is honestly just probably 80% of the people that I'd reach out to, just do not understand what Emblem is. And so therefore it makes it hard to for an allocation. And so somebody also says, I'm interested in purchasing a founder vault. Yep, got a little bit more information on that. So with that being said, because Emblem was so new, it made it really hard to go about this way. And then also you have Emblem's kind of, or the crypto space has this like ever evolving dynamics. We're royalty based, that got ripped out from under us. We had to remove Covault, right? You had to go to this vaulting thing. NFTs then died essentially. So there's all these different models moving, but we still wanted to create this new token. And so we realized on top of that, that this world of, token investing is not as transparent as they like to make it out to appear. And there was a few things that happened over the last few years that we noticed, which is why we wanted to bring more transparency to the market. So with the mechanics of Founder Vaults, these keys are locked inside the NFT, but the NFT can actually be traded. So while these tokens are quote unquote vesting over 10 months, you can actually trade them as an NFT on OpenSea, on Emblem Markets. You could go actually borrow against them on a lending platform. You could go stake them if there's some sort of offering and tool. And this adds new transparency because people can see what the value is of these tokens that are being vested. Counterly, you see when you see a new project launch and they say, oh, our tokens are vested for a year, right? Or they're locked for 2 years or whatever it is. They're actually traded on the back end as an IOU to these tokens that are vesting. Even so much that if you guys watch the All In podcast, Chamath and those group of investors last cycle were talking about how they were trading Solana IOUs of locked Solana for multiple years. So this brings new transparency to the market because you can see the on-chain activity. And then on the other side of that, time locking it actually ensures that these tokens are locked and that they won't be sold. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but when people say or projects say that these tokens are locked, they're not actually locked. It's a trust me bro situation. Even so much that recently with EigenLayer, these tokens are supposed to be locked, and one of the early investors basically market sold for a few $1 million of the tokens that were supposed to be locked for a few years. And it caused all this controversy of how did they have access to these tokens? And it was just basically a trust me bro, please don't sell these. So with
on that, Jake,
yeah.
a really parasitic way that they go about selling is, they're generating tokens from staking. They're a huge percentage of the supply, and then they're just dumping the staking rewards onto the open market because those aren't technically locked. So these are all like back alleyways that they're just selling on retail while acting like a lot of the supply is locked when in fact it's not. So time lock vaults solve pretty much all of these.
Yep. And then also on another route as well is that we're going to offer a few different incentives for this because this is a brand new idea. We have no idea how the market's going to respond to this. And I'll get to the distribution here in a second. Inside of each Founder Vault, there's going to be a Bitcoin deposit address, Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, and Bells coin. With the opportunity that if we do want to gamify these vaults, do things like airdrops or different types of partnerships that come into play over our expansion program, right? We enter these grant programs. If you hit these like different types of milestones, then you're rewarded with like generally the underlying token or the native token. We'd like to distribute part of that if that is something that is present. So we do want to leave the open opportunity to gamify these Founder Vaults in a different type of way through rewards. And then also, if you hold Founder Vault, you'll earn points in our vaulting program, which I will explain on the next slide here. So with the Founder Vault distribution, this was one of the questions of who bought the rounds or how did it go. So we have 1,000 vaults, and we're going to divide them into 5 rounds of 200 vaults each. This is generally pretty standard. You'll see this on like other projects. They have these different valuations of different amounts. Some of them are transparent. Most of them are not. We're going to be very transparent with this. So with the first round, we did offer this privately, but I did reach out to, I'm not joking, probably 500 different people. This is something that we did every day for months on end. Hundreds of people saying no. We reached out to the majority of early supporters. This is, again, everything from funds to people who I follow, right, to early community supporters. I'm sorry if you were skipped. It's been a lot to kind of manage. Adam also reached out to a ton of people as well. We really tried to cover all of the just traditional people who may be interested or not. We're really trying to do this as a grassroots movement that is the antithesis to a lot of the things that are out there, because what made Emblem so popular with all these users is the community. It's the grassroots movement. Emblem found product market fit before anything else, and that's from the community finding a lot of interest in it. So the first round was offered at a 6 million FDV, so very, very low offering, because one of the reasons is that we want the community to grow. We want you guys to capture the value alongside the growth of the project. And with and with kind of this pushback of high FDV, low float tokens that have been happening with VC funded projects, the community's basically said that this is something that they don't want. Emblem, there was no equity that was raised throughout this entire process. The quote unquote people on the Emblem cap table, or the stakeholders, are literally the people on the team and nobody else. So, we don't have to play by these high FDV, low floats. We get to create our own path for this. And so with that said, we want the community to grow with us. So we did 100% fill it, might even be a little bit over allocated. And then all of those funds have pretty much gone to hiring new developers and developer support. So we actually I brought on 2 developers pretty much full time. They just started yesterday. So we finally get to have some assistance for Shannon into the near term to help him build it out. Still, one of the most incredible stories I still think is Shannon pretty much built everything by himself up to this point. To me, it's still one of the most insane stories in the industry. So it was offered at 6 million FDV, and I'll go through some of the people on the next slide, and that is filled. So the second round opens today at a $9 million FDV. So the founder vaults were offered at $1,200 each. The second round will be offered at $1,800 each. And if you're interested in, a large supply of these founder vaults, you could reach out to the team directly, and, we could go through the conversation. We're going to be offering these straight at the round. There's no discounts. So the cool part here is that, we get to go directly to the community, and, the community can look at the market activity on the NFT collection that'll be live, and they can purchase it directly from the market, which will list some at the same value. But if you don't want to go through the gas fees and you would like to just, circumvent that, and we could go through that process, and you want a large allocation for whatever the reasons, then please just reach out to us. This is open to literally anybody. Like, we're not gating this in any reason. We want the community to grow with it. And also we do want to experiment with it, right? It's something that's very new. We have no idea how the market's going to respond. But the cool idea here and the vision is that while these founder vaults are here and you have these tokens, right, this will be the only way really that you can speculate on keys until the TGE in September of next year. Emblem is going to be deploying on all these chains. We're going to be going through the expansion campaign. We're going to deploy on Base. We're going to deploy on Solana, right? We're going to have Emblem AI out there. And you would assume, right, that these kind of things is what gives value to utility tokens. Obviously, the market has to determine it. But this is kind of the idea, is you guys get to watch us in real time, build the product, and have an opportunity to buy into the future of Emblem Vault at a very low valuation. Adam, any thoughts, boys?
I laugh, because talking to VCs and stuff, and I mean, it's kind of crazy. We've seen whatever with the L2s on Bitcoin, and guys are raising $10 million, $15 million, like ridiculous, crazy valuations for literally an idea, literally a nothing, right? And where we found product market fit, we have this incredible like blue ocean in front of us, and most VCs are like, they'd prefer not to have a product, right? They'd prefer to have just a vision. But I think, and you'll maybe show it on the next slide, but people who are crypto natives get it. And that was kind of our, the people who bought it, the guys who are actually in the trenches, they get it. And obviously they're betting on us and the team. But they get the vision. And so, at the end of the road, maybe although we wasted a whole lot of, VC reach outs, but the people who understand crypto, they got it.
Yeah, the natives. Really, like, the hotspot for Emblem was the community members, the like native investment DAOs and like the ecosystem kind of funds, right? Generally were the ones who kind of really understood the vision, or they just, they supported, my leadership, or, Shannon's development skills, right? Or Adam's like trustworthiness, right? Or, Chris's financial skills. Like, there's something there where each person kind of latches onto. And that's what we're building for. We're not going anywhere, right? We're as transparent as possible.
One
And
to kind of build off that is, a $6 million FDV for the first round is insane. That's like your average pump
It's like
fund
free,
token.
bro. It's
Right.
literally free.
And you can raise these giant VC checks and it's glamorous and everything like that, but it's all just ego based, because then you're beholden to these VCs and their only goal is getting cash out of that business. They don't have incentives for the long term. So we opted out of that. We're not in it for the glamour. We've pretty much all been showing up every single day for the past 10 years, and that's not going to change. So we're in a great spot. We're confident in what we're building, and we're confident in the value that we're going to continue to bring to the ecosystem.
Yep. And the artwork for the Founder Vault is also going to be done by Verdandi, who's one of the earliest female artists on Ethereum. She's doing NFTs on she was doing NFTs on Ethereum in 2017. She's very known in the historical NFT community. On the live stream, you could see kind of, that's not the final art, but that was just kind of a mock-up that she did. It's very awesome. And I've been using it in a few posts. So she's going to do some custom artwork where it'll be on the cover of all the Founder Vaults, not AI art. And then there may be some other opportunities in terms of actual art in the near future. So again, we're taking this all very seriously because this is something that we see the grand vision and we want everyone to kind of participate in it. So if you're interested in purchasing a Founder Vault, the Founder Vault NFT collection will be live in the middle of November, so maybe 2 weeks from now. We're also delivering the first round. So those first 200 and a little over 200 vaults will be delivered to all of the people who participated. And then we'll list some available at $1,800 each on the market. Again, those people, you don't know if they're going to try to trade them or if they're long-term holders, right? That's kind of the interesting part of the experiment. But also you could just reach out directly to us if you want to be in the second round. And we're just going to continue to grow it and see how it progresses. And so those who participated in the first round, so we think all of these are people who were open to being public. Bitcoin Frontier Fund and NTO, we really support them. They see the long-term vision in us. But we also kind of, they usually do equity raises. We did not do that here. And so they actually just saw even further into the long-term vision. So we really appreciate them. Also, Ordinals Bot took a team allocation on their side. So Bruffstar and Toby, shout out to them. And the Feisty Collective with Path, Cryptopathic. If you guys are familiar with him, he's been Ordinal, or he's a crypto OG since 2013. Very, very popular person. He also sees the long-term vision of Emblem Vault, and he took some of the allocation to the Feisty Collective, which is a group on Echo, which is Kobe's investment platform. So the offer was given out to about 180 people in the group. The people who participated are also crypto OGs, but opted to not display publicly who they are. But they are some very credible people who are just interested in this idea of time lock vaults. It's kind of interesting, and also just doing something really cool and innovative. And then we had some other investors or early allocators, I should say, like Kilocoins, RCube, Magnesium, Geo, and Ringals. There's a few others kind of as well. And again, if you want to participate, then reach out to us. Maybe we'll do another announcement for the second round or not. But really appreciate. Again, it took a long time to really go through all of this, and it was a very incredibly learning experience from the investment side. I've many thoughts on it, but maybe I'll share that at another day.
One day when you write your memoir, man, right? It's like you realize how in some ways crypto is backwards, right? Like we probably could have raised as much money or more money just doing like launching a meme coin, right? It's like but I think people, especially the Feisty Collective and Path, and people just know us and we're like, okay, I'm just betting on these guys, right? And I think that's kind of my overriding feeling. It's like, yeah, you can reach out to the VCs and try to convince them and stuff, but at the end of the day, people who know us were the main people who drove this round.
Yep. Yep. Completely agree. And if you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us in the Discord. You could DM myself or Adam or the Emblem Vault account, which are speaking on the spaces. So feel free. Again, we're terminally online. So the last program, which is the Earn program of Emblem Vault, it'll receive 15% of the total key supply, so 1.5 billion keys. This is something similar to like a points program, which has pretty much been standardized over the last kind of 2 years. So users are going to earn points that are participating in vaulting activity. The vaulting program will run from Q1 2025 to Q4, probably start towards the end of Q1. So basically the goal is here, over the next 3 months or so, Emblem will probably deploy on as many EVM-based chains as possible. So things like Blast and Merlin and maybe like Avalanche. So anything that's EVM-based, we're going to be deployed on. And then users can then earn points for doing things like minting a vault or jumping a vault or holding vaults or engaging with new products or trading on Emblem markets. It's for those who are generally power users who want to participate, or maybe you're a farmer. So this becomes something a little bit more attractive if they like where the ecosystem is going. This will extend to UTXO, EVM, and SVM. So again, the goal is like EVM, the first quarter to deploy on. Then in Solana is close to being done as well. And then, the next quarter or two will be Bitcoin, which is a much bigger technical lift, right? So you could take your CryptoPunks as an ordinal and etc. The products using is Emblem.Vision. That's where you mint the vaults, and then Emblem.Markets is where you can trade them. A cool introduction here is we actually wanted to add some utility to the CoVol time locks. And so there's some overlap between the two programs. And so what I mean here is that if you time lock your CoVol, right, to receive the migration of keys, that time lock is an NFT. And so what we did is we applied a vaulting discount to that NFT. So if you, and the details are going to be posted in the blog. I just didn't post it on here for, I guess, technical reasons, or just ran out of room. So with when you time lock your CoVol, you're going to have an NFT, right, where you can't remove anything for almost a year or 10 months at that point. But that NFT is going to give you a discount on vaulting fees, and then some upwards of 60%. So the vaulting fee is currently $20. So you can basically mint a vault for $8. And so you can basically earn rewards through the migration. You could sell the NFT if you wanted, because people may want to use it for a discount. And then you can use that discount to participate in the vaulting program, to basically farm the program. Or if you're just a power user, who some people have to mint a ton of rare Pepes or whatever it is, then you can also experience that. So you get some utility for time locking it as well, which maybe adds some value to the NFT or the time lock kind of itself. So we'll have more information on that towards the middle of Q1. We'll give a very specific kind of details there. And so then the vaulting program will run for about 8 months or so, and then the tokens will be distributed at the end of 2025. And our goal here is to actually have all 3 of these programs and the airdrops have the tokens distributed by the end of 2025. So there's no lockup and people are dumping on in different variations. The only remaining funds will be at the end of 2025. The only remaining funds after it's all distributed is the Community Growth Fund and the Emblem Vault team allocation, which I'll go through in a second. So what is the Community Growth Fund? This is something that's pretty standard. This goes to things like exchange listings, or putting an LP on whatever the Bitcoin decentralized exchange is, or maybe a Solana LP for it to bridge. We want to launch a grant program to encourage people to build on top of Emblem, like Graham did with the Televault protocol. There's tons of different things that could be built. That's just like low-hanging fruit, where you can create really cool multi-chain or cross-chain applications. So we do want to incentivize that. Also, for future partnerships that may pop up in incentive programs. So one reason, one cool aspect, and this is kind of some of the main thesis here with time locks and founder vaults. So the TGE, right? This is when you can actually like trade the runes on chain, isn't for 10 months from now. One of the reasons why we wanted to do this is that we believe in the long-term growth of the runes ecosystem, but the ecosystem is very immature, right? There's no decentralized exchange. The trading is still clunky. We hope and we expect that 10 months from now, when the keys TGE happens, there's going to be a native AMN that you could trade on. There's going to be more DeFi products, right? So that once this is available, there will be a place to where you can basically either LP it or go trade it on a decentralized exchange. And when you look at some of the utility runes that have launched up to this date, the large majority of them have not found adoption. And we believe that's because the ecosystem is just very immature and it's not ready for that yet, because the trading experience is not where it can be 10 months from now. So that's where our expectation is that once this is undone, we can basically, LP on a few dexes and then do some exchange listings, and there will be sufficient liquidity all around. So I don't know if there's any questions there, but pretty standard. And then the Emblem Vault allocation, right? So 13% of the total key supply. What we're going to do is we're going to time lock the entire supply for 1 year after the TGE. So the TGE is in September 2025. So the Emblem allocation will be time locked for 1 year, which means that we won't have access to it until September 2026, almost 2 years from now. So that's basically off the market. And we will showcase, or we'll show the time lock and stuff like that at a future date. Obviously, there's no way for us to sell it until the TGE because there's literally no market for it. So we'll be very transparent with all of that, but it all is a step in progress. And so, with that, that's kind of where the future of Emblem is going. We're going to be expanding, to all of these different chains. We're basically creating, you could say we're creating the Amazon of crypto, to where you could take any digital asset. NFTs are fungible tokens to any chain, from any chain. And then you're going to have this native token where we're going to have this kind of tokenomic campaign where you can earn the token in a variety of ways. And then once that's all done in 2026 is essentially when Emblem 3.0 comes on.